back from the holidays. Make sure that if you want to keep in touch with everything going on today, we got a big DTI marathon here, so I hope you stay all day. Keep track with what's going on at dtitrader.com/telegram. And of course, we have our YouTube audience coming in, dtitrader.com/YouTube. Great to see everybody on that side. So, Tom, we got a day. We got a day that we're going to have a lot to talk about. But before we get into talking about it, let's hit that risk disclaimer. Let's see what we got going on over there. Let's see. So, risk disclaimer, there is a very high degree of risk involved in trading. DTI Trader and all individuals affiliated with the site assume no responsibility for your trading and investment results. In other words, you and you alone are going to be responsible for the decisions you make and those you don't throughout the trading day. So please take that into consideration. Consider risk as you trade. Make sure it is an important part of your trading plan every day. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. And let's go ahead and hit up some news items here. Excuse me just one second. Need to. Okay, so news items. We are back from the holiday. That's a big event. And of course, I think one of the other big events we've got uh, Netflix, Warner Brothers, and Paramount Skydance. There's a lot going on that front. Big media talks. Netflix, I think, was in position to buy Warner Brothers, and apparently they're opening that back up. So Paramount Skydance might be a big player here. I don't know if that's going to be the immediate concern that you're looking for, but certainly keep that in mind. And then Iran and U.S. talks happened earlier this morning, only about 45 minutes, but apparently they walk away feeling they know what they're doing. And, well, there's a lot happening. And let's go ahead and move over to our next slide where we're going to ask Tom's opinion on what's going on with the market. So, Tom, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thanks, Chuck. One of the things coming back from a holiday like this, it's sort of interesting. The trend or the melting trend, I call it a melting trend. You know, we're below our 3-day algo, which is telling us sell. We're below the yearly open, which is telling us to sell. We made a new low over Friday, and then today the market's hovering. If you we'll look at some charts in a little bit, but it's hovering near its lows. And so when it gets that way, it's easy to get sucked in, but then you got to put things in perspective, which is, you know, how much are we up or down for the year, and what stocks or maybe stocks to avoid. And so what I did, I asked Jonathan, I gave him about 5 stocks just to show you the tale of two worlds that's going on right now. There's been a distribution of what I call the Mag 7 money and the money flowing into other stocks. And if you were there last night, I gave you a list of some of those stocks, and they're holding up fairly decent with the onslaught, and you got a change of hands, so to speak. But if you're in Microsoft right now, which is one of probably the best run companies around, you're getting killed. I mean, it's down like 17%. I think we got a slide in here. Don't we have that next, Jonathan? Slide?
We do have a slide. It's a little ways down. There it is.
There it is right there. But if you notice, Apple's down 6% year to date. Meta's down 3.5%. Google's down 3.5%. Look at Microsoft, 17% year to date. Amazon, 14%. Now let's switch over to stocks that have done pretty good. J&J's up 20%. Walmart's up 17%. MACD is up 7%. Dow's up 30%. That's Dow Chemical. And then Micron, one of the big tech stocks that's sort of fighting the trend there. But the way I think about it when I look at a slide like this, let's say you had $100,000 invested in the market. On one hand, you're getting killed. On the other hand, you're having a good year. And so what you have to do is go where they're paying if you want to be long. And the reason I put these stocks out there because we're in a cycle. It's a cycle of give back right now, and that's over on the these stocks that we've been riding pretty hard for what going on. It's October of 22, pretty hard. But I think it's better from my standpoint to back away and wait on those. On the other ones over here, you got Walmart earnings this week, and that's a highlight. And then at the end of the week, you got two big news items that Chuck got to cover, I guess. You got PCE and GDP at the end of the week. And then, of course, he did hit the nail on the head with the Iran. You got to just look at this thing and say to yourself, okay, what do you do? When you put those together. But I think that the market is searching out lows. I think the low, Chuck, how low do we go? Was it 67.50 was our low? 67.50? That number's in my head.
Yeah, very close. 67.51.50 to be exact.
Okay, and then we had support, if you remember, at 66.50 to 6,700, let's say. So it wouldn't surprise me to see the market continue to grind. And when I mean grind, come lower. And I think that's something. And I got to ask, hey, Tom, what are you doing in silver and gold? Well, I think gold is outperforming silver right now. And silver, there's a big date that I got to tell you, September, write this date down. I think you're going to see a change in flavor as we get closer to this date. It's February the 27th. It has to do with the mechanics of silver. And I think you got to know that date. That's end of this week, next week. And the exchanges right now are caught with a shortage of being able to cover their delivery responsibilities, which means they want to get these prices down. Does anybody knows how they're raising margin on silver and gold right now? I mean, I don't ever think I've seen it this high. That's a sign they want these prices lower. And I think at the end of the day, it does mean silver will go higher, but we got to get past that event. Okay, that's February 27th, about 9 days. Now, I think that's something good. Now I'm going to have Jonathan. I want him to go through the 3-day algo. Let's, if you don't mind, Jonathan, let's go to the 3-day algo slide and go through how the general picture of the market looks right now.
Yeah, let's do it. Mention this before we get there. This is not Monday, but this is the first trade day of the week. And at the close of the first trade day of the week, which is usually Monday, we released the T-Buzz weekly trade letter. That's going to be released around 4:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, today's edition, folks, just where you'll know, will be worth a lot more than $9.99 a year because it's coming off a holiday day.
And it is only $9.99 for the full year. It's dtitrader.com/weekly if you want to get going. dtitrader.com/weekly. Got a few more resources for you. Winning the Day Trading Game is Tom's first book. We give it to you in audio form. This is slide number 6 on today's slide deck. We've got the DTI white paper booklet. You can read about what the 7 sisters are, what the reference bars are. Very important to read those. They're very quick reads too. Gives you a good framework of what the DTI method is. Chuck mentioned we are live on YouTube, dtitrader.com/YouTube. There's a link there for that.
Yeah, be sure to give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing on YouTube. I understand if you don't get a lot of those thumbs up, they don't rank you. And I didn't know that. We've been doing it for about 2 years. And finally a guy explained it to me. He said, hey, you need to ask people for thumbs up if they like what they're getting. You've done a lot of work over there.
Sure have. And do you see that penalty tape there? That was your homework over the weekend. And we have 3 live sessions today. In part 3, Tom, what do you say we do that penalty tape contest?
I think we will at part 3. That's a good thing.
And of course, a great resource we enjoy, looking at and handing out We're not affiliated with these folks, but it's a fantastic website, optionsplaybook.com, completely free. Go check it out if you want to learn about options. Now here's the February first 3 days stocks that we were trying to get to. I updated this about 10:40, so about 3 minutes ago. And
When you see, let me just interrupt. When you see the E-mini and NASDAQ, a short, that's telling you, don't think this is a buy. Okay. If you see those two as a short, and they're short because they're below their 3-day low for the month. Okay. And just don't think they're a buy. Notice bonds though, Jonathan, ZB, we had another anchor trade. Anchor's wearing it out. Goodness gracious, I think that's the 4th trade in about 6 days. That's a bond play, Anchor is.
yeah, and if you remember, it was a couple weeks ago before the Fed meeting, bonds weren't moving, and we were just saying, just stay patient. Bonds will move again, and sure enough, they started moving, and they're paying. That's for sure. Great fun program, Anchor Trades. Bitcoin short. There's TLT. Matches bonds, of course. There's some indexes matching the futures, of course. Again, Dow stronger than the others, but not above its 3-day high. Financials below. Utilities above. Biotech below. Here's some silver related. As we scroll down, there's a lot we've added here, but before we get to the additions, there's some of your Mag 7s right here.
Where did NVIDIA open a year at? Let me look at that real quick. NVIDIA open a year
189.
189. NVIDIA right now, they got earnings not this week, but next week, about 180.
Yep,
And seen that
189
about
is
3
yearly
years where they're here in February, they were below the yearly open.
Yep, 189, 187 Feb open. And the first 3 days for this month, all the way down at 172-ish.
Hmm.
All right, let's see here. We got, what's this one? That's Walmart standing out.
Earnings tomorrow or next day.
Let's see. Check that out here in a second. I'm going to highlight 5 or 6 at the bottom that are brand new additions. If you haven't been here in about a week or so, those are all new additions to this spreadsheet.
That grid, I'm actually got a small position on it, and it's holding up fairly good. Grid, I like the name Grid.
And Tom, Walmart has earnings on Thursday before the market open.
Okay, so you got Walmart on Thursday, you got all the big economic news on Friday. Yeah, Neil, we're going to do the penalty tape contest at the end of the last session.
So that's the first 3 days spreadsheet. I'll post that spreadsheet into the chat. The link doesn't change, so you can save that to your favorite browser if you just click the little star at the top right of that page once you get there. And let's see what else we have today, Tom. So there's that slide again of the change in leadership. You got 5-year Mag 7 stocks on the left, all down for the year. Microsoft the weakest. And then you have some hand-picked stocks from Tom here on the right. Very strong markets for this year. Look at that Micron, 39%.
Yeah, this sort of puts this market in perspective. The SPY is down 0.5% year to date. The equal weighted SPY is up 5.5%. That's what you're seeing here is a distribution of all that money that was in the Mag 7 going elsewhere. Does everybody see that relationship right there? RSP versus SPY? Equal weighted. That was eye-opening to me because usually it's not that pronounced, but that's pretty pronounced in the current market. So what it tells me is that we got a little work to do before the SPY and the QQQ resume upward movement. Okay, that's what it tells me. Now, what I want to do is go to a live market, and I told Jonathan what I want to do is look at these stocks, and I'm going to ask Jonathan a couple questions where we can all have the numbers. But Jonathan, the SPY daily, is it a buy or a sell? Is there a red arrow?
SPY is in a sell. In the daily, you can see it below the MTI lines. You can even see a red arrow right there.
So S&P 500, SPY, any place would be to the south side. Okay. All right. That's a SPY. RSP. Got a red arrow or a green arrow?
Got a green arrow back here at the start of the year.
Yep.
And it's been green ever since.
So if you want to play it alongside, you want to do it in RSP camp. Okay.
Next up, we have some Apple here, which is a little bit of volatile market there.
All right. What do you have? Red arrow or green arrow?
We currently are looking at a red arrow signal.
Okay. Red. If you got a red arrow on MTI, do you want to be long Apple? No. You don't. Now we got that red arrow. It's telling you odds favor the downside. Okay. That's what Apple say. All right. What else? Meta, you got a green arrow or a red arrow?
We got a red arrow.
Okay.
Here's Google.
Yep. Another red arrow. Definitely got a red arrow there. Should be exiting those. If you got those apples, options should be exiting those. Been 72 hours.
There's
Amazon negative. Let me stop here. Are you getting the picture and you're wondering how difficult it is? You can't use the same old stocks to make money. You got to go elsewhere if you're going to play the long side of the market. That's what MTI is great about, pointing this out to you and saying, hey, wake up, guy. There's a different thing going on here, okay? That's what's happening.
Let's look at the bullish side here. Johnson.
All right. Green arrow, red arrow.
Green.
Okay. That's where you want to be long a J and J. All right. What's next?
Walmart.
Green arrow or red arrow?
Green.
Green. Perfect.
McDonald's.
Another green arrow. That's the trend too. They're making highs, they're going higher. Okay.
There's Dow Chemical.
Dow Chemical, look at it. Another green arrow.
And Micron.
Micron has got a green arrow, right?
Yep.
And
a new one.
A new one there, green. So Micron is sort of aberration to everything else. That's pretty interesting to me. Look at it like that. Been up to 455 already. Okay. So let's go to a live market and see what the current market's telling us. Okay. And Jonathan, I think it would be good just to keep it simple, stay with the daily. And then we'll get to the short term if we see something we like.
Okay. Maximize it. So this is the S&P futures on MTI by DTI.
And this got us negative, correct?
Yes, it does.
All right, so how do you make money with an S&P futures that's negative? How do you make money if you got the S&P futures negative? You can short it, you can buy puts on it, or you can sell calls, credit call, okay? I see many. How about the NASDAQ? What does it say?
There's the NASDAQ. It had a red arrow about a week prior to the S&P.
Yep. All right. How about the Dow? Look at the Dow. Yeah, you can buy SQQ. Good call, Jim. We'll look at it.
There's the Dow. It's kind of hanging on here.
It's hanging on. It's hanging on. Avoid the Dow to the short side, I guess. Okay. Crude oil.
Crude oil.
Had a green arrow, but looks like it's trying to turn red if it keeps falling, doesn't it? About 61.50 area.
Yeah, the lower white line is 61.50. Yep, sure is.
All right, here's gold.
There's gold. Yep.
Still got a green arrow, doesn't it?
Yep. Off the screen. It happened so far back.
So it's still green, but we know where it turns red on a closing basis. What's that lower number?
Below 48.12, closing basis. Yep.
About $80. So gold could very well be a buy. Okay. And we can tell that by looking at the 30-minute in a little bit. We'll look at the 30-minute. All right. Look at silver.
Okay, silver. There's silver right there. It had a red arrow on the big down day.
Yep. There's your red arrow and your below. So silver's bearish, gold's bullish, or still bullish. Okay. All right, let's look at TLT. Here's an area.
Yep. Yeah, let me fix the chart.
Yep.
There we go.
That's pretty bullish. It's at 90.10. That's a new high.
Yes,
Breaking out. How could you make money with TLT? You could maybe sell some puts that are going to expire worthless. Don't they have an expiration today? They do, don't they?
It should 3 times a week. Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's tomorrow, Wednesday. Said that wrong.
They might open up I'll check on that. They may open up a Tuesday on a week like this. I don't know.
All right, so that's TLT. Let's look at SQQQ. That was Jim's recommendation.
Short the NASDAQ.
That's 2 times the NASDAQ itself, right?
Yeah, it used to be 3x, now it is 2x.
So SQQQ might be in your portfolio right here. All right. Way to go, Carol. She said she bought SQQQ this morning.
Tom, let's look at that grid.
Yeah, look at grid.
There's your grid.
That's why I'm making money on it. Look at it, above the daily. Put Sky in there too. Don't mind.
Yep. SKY.
Yeah.
For Sky.
Like it's going correct a little bit. Looks good. All right. So what we've done is gone through these stocks looking for something to latch on to. Here's what I walk away with. TLT is the latch. Avoid silver right this second because it's doing this corrective thing. Okay, silver is.
There's a GLD, I believe you asked for, right?
Yeah. Hold them in. I go to a 30-minute on GLD.
All right. 30-minute. Let's maximize that side. Here's GLD 30-minute.
Okay, notice GLD 30 minutes on a red arrow, so I wouldn't do anything on GLD right now, but I do know where I would. What's that high number on the bar?
The top white line
Yeah,
is 452.30 area.
write that number down. 452.30 would tell you, because gold, remember, is still bullish. If it goes above that number, we got us a play there during the marathon. If it gets above, what is it, 452.30? Okay, that's a play. We already said hit TL2. That's a possible play.
TLT.
That's a 72-hour trade, Neil. Remember I said stay at 72 hours? You ain't been at 24 yet. That's TLT. Where's TLT got to go above to make a play on it?
About 90.13.
Yeah, 90.13. Okay. I'd set an alert there. 90.13. All right, that's TLT. All right, so we got gold's a possibility, TLT's a possibility. Assuming, let me give you some numbers here. 67, it's on the E-mini itself. It went down as low during all this turmoil. It went down to 67.91, 67.91, and the NASDAQ went down to 2449. Okay, 2449. NASDAQ's had a recovery. We have some work to do. We wanted to scalp trade there, but NASDAQ looks like it's trying to recover. All right, and then do the diamond on a 30-minute. Okay, you're on a red arrow. Where's that? Where's the white line on the diamond? Let's give us that number. Notice I'm writing it down.
494.80.
494.80. 494.80. About 100 points from here. So that would tell me that the diamond, remember, diamond was not bearish like the other indexes. It was still okay if the short term turns positive, just like the short term turns positive on gold, we can do that. Now let me show you a real good play. Hit GDX. Hit GDX. This is a play that I'll be doing if it gets above, what is that, 155?
Yeah.
155. If GDX goes to 155, I will do a play there on gold. Why would I do a play on gold? Does everybody know why I would do a play on gold? Because it's not bearish. It's on the limit down at the low side, but the 30-minute would have to turn positive above 150. You understand the rationale there? If it resolves itself to the upside, that'd be a heck of a play. That stock's been, I think, up to 110, maybe. I'm not sure. No, last week it was 105. This is a stock I really like. We can get above 155. Or you might do do something else there. There's other strategies there. Okay. GDX. Yeah, it went to 113 on January 29th, according to Jim. Okay. All right. RSP, look at RSP. Let's look at it for a possible play. What's the number that triggers us there on RSP?
202.55, or excuse me, 202.91. above 202.91.
202.91. Okay. That's RSP. It's a pretty good up move from here, but that's where it turned positive. I'll put SLV in there. Let's see where we could turn this market around. It's having a lot of trouble with that sell-off, that red arrow. It would have to go to what, 67.5? No, 67, 68.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't mentioned the VIX, Philip, but the VIX, for those that want to know, it was over 20. I know that, which is a warning sign for upside moves, right? VIX futures currently 2140. That's bearish. So you got a VIX that's bearish. You got a market. The odds favor the downside. Okay. There's selected stocks that you can look at. Okay. Selected stocks you can look at. But right now, if there's any plays coming out of me, I'm going to consider the downside plays as opposed to the upside plays right now, except for gold, TLT. Those are two. And then those 4 or 5 stocks I gave you to be played to the long side. Okay. So this has been a pretty good analysis using our MTI. Any questions about this? Now, let me ask a question. Jonathan, I want to get a poll. First of all, who's got MTI right now? Who's got MTI right now? Perfect. I was thinking from yesterday to today, it would be nice to have what I would call automatic analysis tied in and add a feature where you could put in stocks that you wanted to put in and it would pick out options plays very similar to Anchor. Anybody interested in me spending that kind of money? We'd have to sell it, but is anybody interested in doing that? You know, where it does some things automatic. In other words, you put your whole portfolio in there and it would come to you and say, hey, your McDonald's is a sell. And I'm going to think about it. Let's do a, John, can we do a poll, see how many people's really interested in that? Because it's going to take a whole bunch of effort to get that done. But I was thinking about that yesterday, how to save time using MTI, using techniques that we developed in Anchor and these other automatic systems.
What do you want to name this poll, Tom?
MTI, call it MTI upgrade. I'd upgrade it to existing holders and raise the price to new people. So that's out of the, when we built it, I had no idea I might go here, but I really like these, the Anchor and Orion program. Yeah, MTI Plus, that's a good name for it. Now, we don't have this. This is just an indication of interest. But if you're interested, let me know. That would tell me if I have enough demand for it to embark on developing it. Okay. Everybody, yes or no, just want to give me a feedback on that. I just had that idea yesterday because I was going through over the weekend. Okay. I was going through this stuff over the weekend. I looked at my clock. I spent over an hour Oh, no, Gene, this is a different feature. John, how many people we got? Do we have enough to get an opinion?
There's about 83 that have answered, and 77 of those 83 said yes. So over 90%.
90% like it. Okay, I'll think about it because I got to check on it. I hadn't done any work on it, but to me, I was sitting there thinking, I'd love to put stocks I'm interested in, like my top 10 tickers, and have it search out there the way Anchor does and that stuff. And then you could have it where a user could put their own stocks in there. But I was just thinking about the 10 tickers. Great to know. They popped up. Anyway, just a thought. Always trying to think, make our life easier, right? Anyway, that's pretty strong, Jonathan. Keep that slide because I'll check into it and see what it's going to take. In the meantime, why don't we play the tape of MTI before we come back for another session here in the marathon?
Sounds great. Let me cue it up. Tom, is there a specific time you want to be back?
Well, it's 11. I'd like to be back by 12 after we finish Genesis.
Okay. So we might be back before then if the video cuts off early, I guess. But if it runs long, be back at noon.
Okay. Let's listen about MTI by DTI. I got a lot of new people. They can hear about it.